President William Ruto has urged the international community to form a huge coalition for collective climate change. This as the president expressed concern over the escalating adverse impacts of the climate change, which pose significant threats to humanity. Speaking during the 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly UNEA 6 at Gigiri, Nairobi County, Ruto said despite increased awareness and efforts, global greenhouse gas emissions are still on the rise, as Alice Diana reports.
In a bid to tackle climate change, biodiversity loss and pollution, President William Ruto has asked United Nations member states to work together. Addressing delegates during the 6th session of the United Nations Environmental Assembly UNEA 6 at Gigiri in Nairobi, the president noted that human activities are the primary catalyst of escalating climate change. As a result, he noted the world is facing record-breaking temperatures, catastrophic droughts and floods, escalating sea levels, landslides, rampant wildfires, and severe cyclones which have become frequent and familiar in many regions worldwide.
Given the magnitude and the urgency of the existential crisis that humanity and life on our planet is grappling with, only collective action at the multilateral level that is effective, inclusive, and sustainable will enable international community to tackle climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. Fortunately, we are now aligned in terms of the need to move together rapidly in order to catch up with and overtake this crisis.
The president said Africa is ready to play its part in climate action agenda by serving as a cost-competitive green industrial hub with the capacity to support other regions in achieving their net zero ambitions. He, however, pointed out that this cannot be achieved if the global financial architecture is not rectified to meet the development needs of the majority in the 21st century.
It is important to point out that incremental steps are no longer sufficient in the face of rapidly escalating threats. We are off track and off target when it comes to fulfilling critical parameters on many indicators of action and delivery. Despite increased awareness and efforts, global greenhouse gas emissions are still on the rise. Pollution patterns are veering in an alarming direction, and biodiversity is confronted with multifaceted and escalating threats, along with the risk of an accelerating rate of loss.
At the same time, President Ruto urged the global community to support Africa's position that the Secretariat of the Treaty be headquartered at UNEP. He explained that the current global environmental governance remains fragmented despite the historic agreement at the Rio +20 conference, which calls for the consolidation of UNEP headquarters functions in Nairobi.
At the same time, the adoption of the coming Montreal Global Diversity Framework was pivotal in defining the actions that must be taken under and within this decade in order to curb biodiversity loss by 2030 and set the planet on a path of restoration and recovery. I welcome the progress being made in the ongoing negotiations for a legally binding global agreement aimed at ending plastic pollution.
Present during the meeting were presidents from Somalia, Botswana, Djibouti, and Gabon, vice presidents from Zimbabwe and Libya, and prime ministers from Ethiopia, Burundi, Eswatini, and Rwanda. Alice Diana, Hope TV News Watch.